you guys. I'm back for, I think, the last time in this series of 5 things that you can probably stop buying. You guys love these videos, but unfortunately, I don't know how many more things I can talk you out of buying at this point without just throwing the whole system away. But if you want, I am considering doing a skincare version of this. Let me know if you'd be interested in the comments down below. If you are new here, my name is Whitney. My channel is all about beauty budgets, consumerism, getting the most out of our existing collections, as well as decoding and debunking the messages that we get from the beauty community and the beauty industry as a whole. And then figuring out what, if anything, we can learn from it. If you are not new, hey, how's it going? How's your mom and him? All that being said, let's just get started. Number 1, pointless pops. Basically products that come out that have 1 or 2 pops of color in it, clearly intended to kind of differentiate this palette from all the other shit we see all the time. Although, if you were to remove those pops of color, which is usually 2 or 3 shades out of like a 15 pan palette, you would see that essentially it's the same thing we all are seeing all the time, and they throw in a few Hail Marys to make it marketable again. One of the places that I definitely remember kind of having that light bulb moment of realizing what was going on was when KKW Beauty launched their first collab with Mario Dedivanovic. I think there's a second one coming, that's why I call it the first. This palette and the whole collection, much like the remainder of her line, was extremely neutral. I mean, I feel like every time we see Kim Kardashian walking around in full beat and hair extensions and her Yeezy gym clothes, she's wearing neutrals. I mean, I could think of one time off the top of my head that she wore a blue eyeshadow. I mean, I'm not a Kim K expert at all, so she could wear it all day, every day, and twice on Sunday, and I would have no clue. But they put that one royal blue pop of color in that palette. I mean, could it be because she felt like it was just time to play with makeup? Shit, yeah. Could it also be that Kim knew that if you saw a bunch of influencers all over social media rocking that blue shadow, that you would see the image and immediately connect that blue shadow with the palette? It was a distinctive aspect of that palette because, once again, otherwise totally neutral. Now, I feel like the point here, as I said in the beginning of this section, was that it's to kind of convince you that this palette is somehow different from things you already own. So over here, I'm going to put some palettes on the screen with the pops of color and without, and you will clearly see that without the pop, they look like shit you already own, or at least things we've seen a million times. So for example, this is a Huda Beauty palette, and if we remove 3 shadows from the 18 color palette, it just looks like a regular neutral palette. This is the Safari palette from Natasha Denona. If you take 4 shadows of the 15 pan palette out, another neutral palette. This is the Lunar Beauty Strawberry something palette. If you take these 4 out of the 15 pan palette, you have another maroon based palette, which is something we've seen a million of. Modern Renaissance started this trend back in like 2015, I think it was, and we've seen a crap ton of them ever since. This is the Natasha Denona Gold palette. This one's a little more blatant. There are literally 2 pops of turquoise in here. Otherwise, it's another neutral palette. Like, are you willing to spend $130 on a palette to get 2 shades you don't already own? Because there's a very good chance you have a million neutrals just like this. I'm gonna go ahead and show you another good example of this that I saw twice in the span of like a few months. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Sultry palette, and this is the Urban Decay Naked palette, the second version. Basically, these 2 did the exact same thing. They made a neutral palette with a random pop of like coral or like a poppy shade. Without that pop, once again, we have neutral palettes. They put this in there, like I'm telling you, to draw your eye right there to the pop and then suddenly reframe this in your mind as something brand new and groundbreaking and never seen before. Mainly my point is this: companies know throwing a pop in here to differentiate the brand new product they're launching this month with everything else they've already put out works. They know what they're doing. Don't fall for the pointless pop. If you can cover up those pops and the palette looks exactly or even close to something you already have, pass. Number 2, setting powder. Loose setting powder, that is. It's not that nobody was selling or making loose setting powder before the baking craze hit, but once it hit, it was like companies figured out that people in the beauty community wanted to try this product, so everybody released a version or two of it, trying to be the most coveted, most used one. It's very interesting if you think about it, how social media influences the decisions that brands make around launches. Is that why they're called influencers? It's not that there's no benefit to owning these products or anything like that. It's just that once the market sees a trend like this, everybody pushes it out and acts like it's brand friggin' new. I feel like setting powder is just one of those things. I've definitely gone through phases where I was collecting them all the time, and if I had to put a number to it, I would say I tried about 8 different setting powders in the span of a year. Some were top dollar and some were a little more basic, and I don't know how much I preferred any of them over any of them at the end of the day. I'm down to 2 that I know I will repurchase over and over and over again. It's the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish. All of her titles get me tongue-tied. And the Hourglass Veil. Only 2 I'm ever gonna need. But here's my thing with powders and complexion products as a whole. I get the feeling sometimes, based on the types of questions that I get from you guys and people in my real life, that when it comes to a complexion routine, you guys are expecting a lot from these products. There are people out there that no matter what happens, their pores are never gonna be small enough, their dark circles are never invisible enough, skin is never flawless enough. This is a very good mentality for companies to take advantage of. They've already got us convinced that we're just fugly from the word go if we have any of these completely normal human flaws, but on top of that, they're selling you on the idea that they can constantly improve upon it, when at the end of the day, some things need to be improved through skincare, diet, more sleep, all kinds of things, and relying super hardcore on products from the cosmetic industry to fix it is really keeping their bottom line exactly where they need it to be. On top of that, I said this in a video recently, the more you're depending on makeup products to perfect you, you're not leaving any room to just learn to like and love yourself. So in other words, are these batch of flaws that you continue to buy products to get rid of, are they even real? Like, I can tell you any time I have done makeup on anyone, without fail, they're going to tell me of their flaw that I need to correct, and I look at them and I just don't see it. I don't know what they're talking about. Everyone sees their flaws so much more than everyone else. We as women are taught that we're not supposed to age. I mean, how much anti-aging stuff do you see out there marketed towards men at all? I'll wait. Oh, nothing? That's right. That's aging is a problem that women solely are supposed to deal with. Skin flaws are things that only women need to concern themselves with. And until we start really appreciating ourselves and just kind of like rolling with it a little bit more, companies are going to keep making a shit ton of money off of us. That's just my, I know this is supposed to be basically telling you not to buy powder, and I went on this little rant, but it's all connected. Complexion products, they're a very slippery slope for some people, and I get it. I've been there. Number 3, beauty sponges. I don't feel the need to go too crazy here, so I'm just gonna come right out and say it. They're all kind of the same. And more importantly, they all get thrown away. Some are bigger than others, some are firmer than others, but at the end of the day, they're all kind of this. I mean, argue with me if you want. I feel like I've tried a good little bit of beauty sponges out there, and I can tell no real discernible difference. Save the fact that the structural integrity of the sponge may differ slightly from sponge to sponge, but what you really need to pay attention to is the dollar value of the sponge, bearing in mind it is disposable, and if truly it's the only one that can get the job done. Like with Beauty Blender, I kind of feel sorry for Beauty Blender, man. Did they not patent this? Because I don't know how they can keep up anymore. Beauty blenders are an expensive sponge. They're about 20 bucks a pop, and once again, they get thrown away. I was really diehard for Beauty Blender, the brand, in the beginning because it was the first time I'd ever seen anything like that, but now I don't see a situation in the foreseeable ever where I can justify $20 on a disposable sponge. I'm very happy with Real Techniques, and there is a Morphe sponge that I like a lot because it has like this sharp little edge to it that's kind of useful, but even then, if I don't have it, I'm not going to lose my damn mind. I'm just not that particular, but these things still drop every once in a while. Like, do you guys remember the Scylla sponge? Everybody for a hot minute who wanted to have a viral video on Instagram or on YouTube reviewed the Scylla sponge. Anybody using it anymore? I submit that they are not. Companies are like hip to our jive. They know that if they put a product out that's just weird enough, we're going to talk about it. For no other reason than people are gonna watch the video where we talk about it. But I feel like Nikki Tutorials is a good example of this because she's done like dedicated reviews about sponges a handful of times. It's interesting to me that people are that interested in a sponge. Like, I can't help it, essentially, because like I said, they're all the same. To me, the goal here, find one in your budget that you can rationalize having to purchase over and over and over again, because on top of them being disposable, they're disgusting. They are a breeding ground of bacteria and they need to be replaced consistently. Don't be holding on to beauty blenders for more than, depending on how often do your makeup, I would say a month. If you're doing it every day with a beauty blender, definitely needs to get tossed out after a month or so. But find the one that fits into your budget and leave all the other ones alone. I personally feel like this keg has been tapped, but beware, there will be more coming. Number 4, merch makeup. This one's a big one for me, especially in light of the recent announcement that not only is Lady Gaga getting into the makeup game, but so is Millie Bobby Brown, the little girl from Stranger Things. Everybody getting in the game. And I'm sure that to some people, this is an indicator that the beauty industry and the beauty community is bigger and better than ever. To me, it is a red flag, SOS. Like, I've never seen a situation happen in all of history when something gets super, super big, it doesn't pop shortly thereafter. I feel like this is a sign. I feel like I'm a truther out here, just like, it's all gonna end. But I feel like this is a good sign that people are really, really aware of how much money can be made in this industry, and everyone's just doing a quick money grab. I don't think even a portion of the brands that we're seeing right now will be around in 5 to 10 years. I doubt it severely. I'm willing to play fantasy football style this and start making predictions because I have a good hunch about which ones are going to be gone sooner rather than later. But anyway, merch makeup in its essence to me is defined by any makeup line that without some sort of public figure attached to it, the line itself would have no audience at all. I mean, how many lines can you guys think of that have come out recently? Let's take hair and skincare out of it because I feel like those don't tend to rely so heavily on this as much as makeup does. But in makeup, if you guys can think of any new lines that have done really, really well that were not attached to some sort of celebrity or social media influencer, let me know, because I can't think of a lot of them. I feel like the ones we hear the most about are like merch makeup. And I think this all started with Kim and Kylie. If I'm not a Kardashian person, you guys know this. So if you are and you about to get offended, okay, bye. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I feel like they kind of started this new wave of bigger celebrities getting in the game. And I feel the same way about it now that I felt about this when it first came out. And that's that their products aren't anything special. I don't watch a lot of the beauty community. I'm going to say this over and over again because if there's ignorance in my statements, I'm willing to admit that. When I was still heavily consuming beauty content, I feel like the Kardashians would launch one of their collections or what have you. We'd hear about it for about a week, everybody be posting about it, and then you never see it again. I never saw any of this stuff on anyone's favorites list. I never saw holy grails from the Kardashians. I just don't think they're worth the price point or the hype. I mean, at least with Kim's, there's some sort of aesthetic going on, like there's some cohesive element. Kylie's is a hot mess. Like, this looks like kids makeup from Claire's to me. I mean, it must be how she's a billionaire already with this line, because she certainly saved a lot of money on design and packaging. But this is a really good example of merch makeup, although they are not the only ones doing it. I kind of feel like most brands owned by influencers right now, most, not all, are merch makeup also. But particularly if we use this as an example, you can kind of see where that hypothesis comes from, because their launches are almost completely centered around their lives, like their birthdays, their anniversaries, their friends, their family members, their moms. Like, who the hell asked for a Kris Jenner makeup collection? I don't get it. I'm not the target audience. I understand that. I feel like a lot of this stuff is very profitable for them, very tacky for us, and expensive. And no, you guys, no. They got enough money. Number 5, the last thing we're gonna talk about is top dollar beauty. I mentioned this in my Sephora video that I posted not too long ago about the VIB sale, how I think it's kind of a trap. Once again, I mentioned in that video and I'll mention again, check out Nappy Headed Jojoba's video on this. I will link it down below. She's hilarious and made a lot of really good points. But I will expand on this a little bit because I did talk briefly about this phenomenon in the second video in this series that I made, where I talked about $40 lashes and how ridiculous they are, and the fact that the beauty community and the beauty industry has managed to desensitize us a lot to huge price tags that make no sense. Have you guys ever heard of something called the Diderot effect? The Diderot, I'm gonna have to read this off my phone. The Diderot effect is a social phenomenon related to consumer goods. The effect comprises two ideas. The first idea posits that goods purchased by consumers will be cohesive to their sense of identity and as a result will be complementary to one another. These are people who are really like into an aesthetic, for example, and if your aesthetic is luxury, you might really need all of your things to have a luxurious vibe because you want everything to kind of complement each other. And the second idea states that the introduction of a new possession that is deviant from the consumer's current complementary goods can result in a process of spiraling consumption, meaning you buy one really nice expensive thing, you're gonna keep buying more and more and more. Obviously, this principle is not found only in high-end makeup consumption. It's true with all facets of marketing and retail. But if you think about it, it's kind of like once you crack the seal on the $100 eyeshadow palette thirst, like what else is on the table? I sometimes wonder like who the target consumer is for these brands. If I was a fly on the wall at Natasha Denona headquarters and I sat in on an R&D meeting, I want to know who they would say is their ideal customer. Only pro MUAs who do things like invest in makeup because it's part of a bigger money making plan? Or is it extremely wealthy women who can easily afford it with their mountains of disposable income? Doubt it. Because I'm willing to bet a whole heaping lot of people who buy this stuff are in neither boat. So who is it for? If her vision for that brand was just to personify her deep passion for makeup and share it with women and really just grow this global awareness of true prestige makeup products and artistry, whatever. It doesn't really matter. The market does not care about your intentionality. It cares about dollars and cents. It cares about how much can you sell. And not only that, how long can you sell it? These brands, I think, call especially to people that are my number 4s and number 5s. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, check the down bar below. I made a video all about how to figure out what your makeup shopping / makeup style is and what brands or what products and things like that you need to stay away from or check out. But number 4s and number 5s are at the end of the scale, the higher point of the scale. These people are probably the target audience because they're already in a high-priced makeup consumption. I don't think anyone's first makeup purchase is a Natasha Denona eyeshadow or a Pat McGrath foundation. That's not what's happening. And the more they buy, the more they will buy, according to the Diderot effect. That's not to say that you should feel shamed or feel bad for choosing to spend your money that way. You're free to do whatever the hell you want to do. This is America, damn it. If we can't throw money at overpriced shit that we have to throw away soon, where else can we do it? I just think your intentions behind these types of purchases should be very well examined. I just feel like we take a lot of things for granted, and the top dollar price points of some of this stuff might be one of those things. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Patreon launching very soon. Facebook group also launching soon. Lots of stuff coming out. I hope you guys are having an amazing day. Check the down bar for links to all my social media platforms, and I will catch you in the next one.